What up, world? It's your boy Charles Brown, aka Chuckwick Ills, back again with another review. This time we're gonna talk about your boy Cameron. He dropped something new called The Program. So I got a lot to say about this album. First of all, I'm not gonna say it's an album officially, it's a mixtape, but when I go on my streaming service and I see your mixtape or playlist or whatever you want to call it, and you put it on there, then I'm going to call it your album. If I can stream it on Tidal or iTunes, then that's an album to me. So I'm just going to say Cam dropped a new album, in my opinion. So let's talk about Cameron. So I want to be clear. My relationship with Cameron is very complicated. Let's just say that. It's complicated. When I say that, I think I can point to, if you look in the CLBMG video listings, I have a video that I did before on Cameron. It's called a What Really Happened. If you want to check that out, scroll down and check that out if you didn't already. And that, even that has nothing to do with my relationship with Cameron, the artist. My relationship with Cameron is very touch and go. Let me just start it like this. I named my youngest son Cameron after the rapper Cameron's name. Let's start there. My youngest son is named Cameron, and I heard Cameron from the rapper Cameron or Cameron, and I was like, that's a dope ass name. So now you may say you must be a big ass Cameron fan. I'm not gonna say I'm a big ass Cameron fan. I like the name, and I think Cameron is a very good rapper. But when I say my relationship with Cameron is complicated, because Cameron to me has moments where Cameron was right and sometimes Cameron was wrong, in my opinion. And it's not even that deep. It's, I made a judgment call or whatever. So I ain't never been, let me put it like this. I know some Dipset fanatics. Everything. And that Dipset run, you couldn't tell Dipset fanatics nothing about no Dipset. You couldn't tell them nothing about Killa Cam, Jim Jones, Jewels. Who else is in that? Freaky Zeke, Hell Rail. I don't know. If I'm wrong, you tell me. But I think that's pretty much Dipset's. A couple other names in there that I'm not familiar with, or I am. But at the time when Dipset first started to bubble, we had a certain kind of style of rap that we were into, and it wasn't that type of rap. We weren't into the super flashy, super arrogant, super thugnificent, you know, just the over the top, the pink coats and all. We wasn't into that. But Cameron grew on me after a while. So when Dipset and all that first dropped, we was in a zone. We were making pain music. We were listening to pain music, Scarface, Wu-Tang, for lack of a better name to come up with off the top. Just artists of that nature, Organized Confusion, Most Def, Pharoah Monch, De La Soul, stuff like that. That had a more of a thinking man rap. We weren't into the brash, braggadocious, I got 100 grand in 2 suitcases, my pockets is fat. We wasn't into that. Like, I am a Reasonable Doubt guy. I am not a Volume 3 guy. If that could sum it up for you. If that could sum it up, the kind of person. Reasonable Doubt is a thinking hustler who knows he's out here, he knows what he's doing is wrong, but he has a righteous cause for it, and it's all for a purpose. Not the, I'm just balling out of control, we got 2 suites at the, you know, all this, we just make more money than you want the 6, we got the 7, all this, I don't do all that. So for that, I don't subscribe to that kind of music. That's exactly what Cameron represents to me. Very braggadocious, very arrogant, all of that. So I wasn't really feeling it. And I'm a Jay fan. But I like introspective Jay. I like braggadocious Jay. I like hard Jay. I like all that. But Jay seemed to be more intelligent with what he was rapping about. It wasn't just anybody on the streets know that's not cool. You out there doing what you're doing because you have no option. So when I'm seeing a guy making it look like this is cool, I knew dudes like that on the street. And a lot of times they was fronting. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a cat like that'll be in jail acting like it's all good when they know it ain't. And he know he really hurting, and that it's a lot of front. So I'm like, I couldn't reconcile with it because I don't play the game like that. Some people play the game for all they can get out of it. Most people playing the game to get out of it. And when you're glorifying it too much, like, this is what it is. Yo, it's all this money. At that point, we don't believe you because real cats don't. You're not doing it for that. Yeah, that comes with it, but you're not doing it for that. You're trying to feed your family. You're trying to feed yourself. You're trying to get better things, and that's it. So I had a complicated relationship with Cameron. So when Cameron first came out, I think I first saw Cam legit when Mace brought him out on either Rap City. I just got my memory refreshed the other day. I saw the video again. Mace brought Cameron out on Rap City. And Cameron had mad swag like this, like, yo, son, like just like one of these dudes right off the rip that's all about their paper. They don't care about nothing else. So I was like leery of the dude. So then I was like, all right. Then I heard about sports, drugs, and entertainment. And I was like, oh, here we go. You know what I'm saying? This is, you know what I'm saying? It just was like, here we go with this. This not going to be, it's just going to be some nonsense or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So this was around the Biggie, Lance, Rivera, all that era, the Junior Mafia, all that was coming out. And Cameron started to bubble, but then something happened with him and Mason. Everything, and Biggie died, and a whole lot of stuff fell apart. But for some reason, I was curious about Cam's future. And for some reason, I kind of took an affinity to like, yo, this kid, they kind of left this kid out in limbo. When his label went down, I believe it was Lance Rivera. I think he was signed to him. Biggie's man, I think they had a whole different label or whatever. But I think it was under Big, and when Big died, they didn't have the label couldn't hold up on his own no more. And I remember something about a bidding war. Something happened where they couldn't fulfill whatever the obligations of the label, and it collapsed. So then, like, he had got a lot of praise for the stuff he had did. I really wasn't listening to a lot of it. Next thing you know, I'm hearing, you know, Dipset is bubbling. Dipset bubbled, if I'm not mistaken, on their own, on some independent, like they started to pop underground. It started to be like you couldn't go nowhere without hearing Dipset. You couldn't. You had to know who Dipset was. The beats was immaculate. Dipset beats. Even if you didn't think they could rap. I ain't never known Dipset, none of that stuff to be over the top bars. Jewel's bars. Jewel's had bars. He's the youngest one in there. You know what I'm saying? He had bars. Cameron had lines, but Jewel's had bars. Cameron had a funny line here, funny line there. With Mason Betta, all that little stuff. He had that. And it was cool. It served a purpose. It got radio play. It did what it's supposed to do. But when they joined up as Dipset, which I'm sure they were Dipset before all that, but whatever. I don't know much about it. But when Jewel Santana, Jim Jones wasn't even really rapping like that back then. I think Jim Jones was easily considered the least lyrical in that clan, in that crew. And I didn't even hear him rapping that much back then anyway. I heard Cameron rapping more, Jewel's and whoever else was rapping, but it wasn't a lot of Jim Jones. So at the time, they started popping. The beats was hard, and I couldn't even front on it no more. I was like, these dudes got some nice beats. That Diplomats run, when they dropped that, I think that may have been on a major, but I don't remember the label that it was on. But when they dropped that, that was hard. That was hard. And I had a couple cats that switched over from whatever we was feeling, whatever we was liking, they became Dipset fans. They dropped all that all that stuff we was rocking with before, Redman and all that, they dropped that. Dropped it. They went to Dipset, started dressing like them with the baggy sweatsuits and the hats on the hats on backwards and the throwback jerseys. They started dressing like them. They started dressing like them. It became cool to rock a fur coat. You know what I'm saying? And pink, the color pink. This man made the color pink cool, bro. So whatever you got to say, yeah, we might have wore girl sneakers back in the day for the colors. This is way back. Dudes started wearing girl sneakers for the colors, but it wasn't outright cool to just bust out with a pink coat, with a pink hat, with a pink shirt, with pink sneakers. Like, it wasn't cool till Cameron did that. So now you're talking game changing. At this point, this guy has changed the culture. He changed the culture. And there's a lot of guys running around now with a lot of effeminate stuff on, thinking like they just started changing the culture. You're building on what Cameron did in the game. You know what I'm saying? So let's be clear. A lot of stuff, and I ain't saying is great or it's whack. It just it moved the culture in the direction that it moved to, based on his actions. So you're building off what's already been done. Everything's been done, but it's about who did it first. So you got Cameron rocking pink, but the beats is hard. These dudes seem like a unit. It seems like nothing's gonna, you're not getting in front of these guys. You're not stopping their grind or their shine or what have you, all that madness. Fast forward. I believe, I don't know the specifics of the Dipset dismantling, how they fell apart or what have you. What I do know is Cameron somehow ended up rocking with Dame Dash as a hired executive in Roc-A-Fella Records. So, scandal is, you wake up one morning and it's like, first of all, Roc-A-Fella was already having the issues. Dame Dash, it was already rumors that Dame Dash J, all this stuff was getting kind of shaky over there. So to wake up one morning and hear that Cameron has been hired as president or vice president of Roc-A-Fella Records while Jay's on vacation, you know that's a problem. That's a problem. First of all, the Roc-A-Fella, the whole dynamic didn't even fit with what Dipset stood for. It's a whole different dynamic. A whole different dynamic. First of all, Roc-A-Fella was more bars. You can't name one dude on Roc-A-Fella that's trash. I'll give you a chance. I'll give you some time. I'll give you some time. It's not a bunch of dudes on Roc-A-Fella that you're going to be like, oh, they was a suspect or whatever. Dude, take your time. You know what I'm saying? Beanie Siegel, Freeway, Jay, Memphis Bleak, the dudes out of Philly, all that state property. I'll let you do what you do. You tell me who's trash on Roc-A-Fella. And I'm not saying that Dipset was trash, but Dipset relied more heavily on the beats than the rhymes, actually. And Dipset subject matter very, very seldomly swayed from what the core fans wanted to hear. It wasn't a lot of variations of it. With a Roc-A-Fella album, it was going from one end of the spectrum to the other. You didn't get that with Dipset. It was, we hustling, we grinding, we here to get this money, and that's it. It was never, you didn't get a What We Do by Freeway. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get I Feel It in the Air by Beanie Siegel. You didn't get that when you was listening to a Dipset record. So, it was shocking because it changed. It was just like when Dame Dash signed ODB to Roc-A-Fella. Didn't make any sense. I'm the biggest ODB fan, but Old Dirty Bastard, fresh out of jail, signs to Roc-A-Fella. It made no sense. He doesn't fit that mold. So at this time, Dame Dash is doing all these weird moves that ain't making no sense. You're signing Old Dirty Bastard. You're signing, not only signing Cameron, but you're making him an executive in Jay-Z's company. So at the end of the day, that's a disaster. So I'm like, all right, we're going to see how this plays out. Now, let me tell you how it played out for me. I ended up wanting to really root for Cameron at this time because I was a Roc-A-Fella Records fan. And I wanted Cameron to uphold that match. I'm like, all right, now you signed to, this is it right here. You can't rock this. If you on Roc-A-Fella and you can't knock this out the park and kill this, give up. Kill yourself. This is crazy. Lo and behold, Cameron drops probably, in my opinion, his best music. He drops his best album. And you know, I like quite a few Cameron joints. But I think this body of work probably was his most impressive body of work. To Come Home With Me. First platinum album. First like big week sales like that was on Roc-A-Fella Records. Became a star. Everybody had heard, I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people had heard of Cameron, but he wasn't no star yet. He wasn't no star. He was popping, and he had a couple joints that was popping, but he wasn't no star. When Come Home With Me came and he had that push, that Kanye push, and that joint, he had a joint with Jay, despite whatever shit they was going through. He had a joint with Jay. One of the craziest joints ever. Now, it's on. Now, this is where I say my relationship with Cameron's complicated. Now you on my, probably one of my favorite labels of all time, and now you got a smash record. So guess what? Now I'm rocking with you. I like this dude's music. I like what he's saying because he's getting a better look with it. They're not letting you just do anything. Oh, just now it's, you got that Kanye push. You got that Kanye record. You got that J. Now you got some real records. Got them Just Blaze beats. Now you got some real beat. Now we talking. So then, this is when the world starts figuring out Cameron actually is a actual beast. This dude's a star. This dude's very marketable. He's very profitable. This guy can do what your favorite rapper can do. Fast forward. Literally probably the single-handed last straw of Roc-A-Fella was the signing and the release of Cameron. Because the thing with Cameron is very outspoken. Cameron was talking crazy and reckless about the dude that he's on the same label with. It became toxic, and it became, we're choosing sides and who's gonna go here, who's gonna go there. It became very ugly, very messy, and the whole thing self-destructed. So as soon as he get his first platinum record, it destructs. And now everybody's running and scurrying and choosing sides and blah, blah, blah. And that's where you got Kanye over here, Cameron over there. Now the thing with loyalty is sometimes you're loyal to the wrong side. Dame Dash wasn't going nowhere musically. He came out with the Dame Dash Music Group and all that. What is that? Who cares about that? That don't even sound good. So whatever was going to pop at that point, you're going off the person that you left with. So if you left with Jay, you had a good chance of your thing popping off, because he wasn't gonna name his thing Jay-Z Records, like, you know what I'm saying? So right there, you already in the middle. So then this guy Cameron is stuck in limbo, and here we go. He right back to Lance on Rivera days where he rising, but the label's dead. So we right back there where, you know what I'm saying? What we gonna do? Now, luckily for Cam, he got an entrepreneurial spirit. He got an independent spirit. He got a mind state to stay relevant, to make money, to keep hustling, which is, for all that braggadocious rap, you got to be able to back that up. You can't just be, I'm out here, I'm gonna get this money, I'm gonna make this paper. You got to learn how to back that up. That got to be something you can do for real, not just talk about. There's a lot of rappers a lot of rappers that talked a lot of game that right now might be helping you move your bags at the grocery store. So it sound good that you can do this and do that with your paper, but Cameron really knew how to do that. Came back out, Dame Dash put him on that Paid in Full in a classic movie. Hands down classic. You cannot watch Paid in Full and not agree that that's a classic. I mean, you know, for whatever personal reason you may have to not like it, you still have to give that movie props. It's a great movie. So that once again put Cameron back in the public eye. He's doing the Dougie, you know what I'm saying, while he's banging the girl out. This is classic, hysterical. But then we're right there again where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Cameron's still making music, but Cameron, like I told you, he talks reckless, mad beefs. The internet age is 100% in full swing. Now you got everything you say right on the internet. Everything you did is recorded. YouTube exists now. So everything you want to do in the public eye is getting recorded. 10 years ago. Stuff still on YouTube now that this dude got in the middle of. You got beef with 50 Cent. You got beef with Kanye. Beef with Jay-Z. They was both, Jim Jones and Cameron was riding against Jay-Z. So, you got that. That's career hurting. Because when you beef with a 50 Cent, when he in his prime, all you're doing is forcing people to pick sides. He's the biggest artist in the world and you're beefing with him. You're beefing with Jay-Z. Jay-Z's one of the biggest artists in the world. You're beefing with Jay-Z. Everybody that's big, yeah, your fan base going to enjoy that. But the people that rocking with that guy now all of a sudden have to pick sides. And he ain't going to pick you. So a lot of time Cameron stuck his own foot in his mouth by having a beef with somebody. Even his own team, Dipset, falls apart seemingly because of Cam. He falls out with Mace for whatever reason. Now, it could be Mace's fault. I mean, you know, there's a lot. Cameron has a lot to say about Mace. And Mace has very little to say about Cam. But when you're beefing with Mace, you're beefing with Jim Jones, you're beefing with quiet little stuff sound like it's with Jules too. You beefing with Jay. You beefing, it's everybody. You know what I'm saying? 50 Cent, Kanye. You got something to say about everybody. At some point, people start to think it's you. At some point, it is you. At some point, the media gonna paint you that kind of way. At some point. So now you're getting painted as the bully, the jerk, the dude that he disloyal. He's stealing money. All this little stuff, all these accusations. His business, don't do business with, all this little stuff. Seeping into the game. That's poisoning the game against you. So now, what are we supposed to think as fans of rap? When every time we start to root for you, you attack one of our idols or favorites or something like that. That made a rough road for Cameron. And Cameron disappeared for a while. For whatever reason. In the middle of all this beefing, out of nowhere, Cameron on the milk carton. Cameron's on the milk carton. Where's Cameron? I remember that. It was like, where's Cameron? I remember a video on YouTube that said, Cameron is not dead. Process that. Have you ever had a post or any video about you saying you're not dead? This man went into such seclusion. This dude popped up out of nowhere beside a pool talking about he's chilling in Florida or something. Out of nowhere. No one had heard of Pete. No one knew what was going on. He had beef with 50 and all these people. Next thing you know, with a robe on somewhere. This is your career. Yes, and I know he had personal issues. That's what it is. That's life. So he had to deal with life. But he popped up poolside in a robe. Internet went nuts. They lit him up. So this is where we are with this. Like I said, my relationship with Cam was complicated. It went up, it went down, it went up, it went down. I rooted for him. Then I was like, this dude doing too much. The DC robbery, I'm from DC. And it was never clear what happened. All I know is some dudes got him for a Lambo or something. They either took the Lambo or tried to take, whatever happened. It never was really clear who did what or why. So it's like, well, who knows? So it's like, this is all stuff that's not music. It's not music. So where do we go from that? Where do we end up? None of this is music related. So how are we to take this? Yes, Dipset made some bangers. They broke up. They got back together with this whole Dipset reunion last year when Flex came at Jay-Z. But anyone that really knows what was going on, you could see that it was all just to promote the Dipset reunion. It is a fact. You can say what you want. So now, where we at with this? So my whole thing is, we have been privy to Cameron more of a voyeur experience, not a sonic experience. Not sonically. Because I don't, it's stuff been released, but it has no effect the way the viral stuff does. Him in the slippers and the robe at the pool. None of that ever reached the level musically that did once he became a caricature of himself. So I said it to say this. Cameron just dropped a new mixtape album, playlist, whatever you want to call it. And I listened to it, and I'm going to rate it on how I feel about it. And it's not bad. I don't want to say that it's bad. And I don't want to say that it's crazy. When it first came out, I was like, oh, this is crazy. This dude going nuts right here. When it first started. It's funny, it has its moments. It's quality in sense of a lot of that. And I think that Cameron is in Cameron mode. And it did sound like he got a little personal. He had a couple joints, if you're really paying attention, that were introspective, were reflective, were wishing things didn't happen the way they happened. And none of it's remorseful. None of it's remorseful, but it's thought-provoking to a degree. If you want to piece through some of the stuff, a lot of family issues he put on his album. Once he did that, it made me show that this guy's older now. He's progressed into something greater than what we're used to seeing. So I listened to this album, and it has some quality beats. It has some quality beats. But what I don't want to do is make it like this album is overly dope or anything like that. It sounds like literally Cameron could have did this album in a week and a half, 2 weeks. Picked some beats, wrote some rhymes. There you got it. I don't think this was a long process. It may have been long because he was doing other stuff, but the actual construction of the album could not have been too long. It could not have been that long. It's some good quality beats on here. Some stuff that made me laugh, dime after dime, stuff like that. Some stuff that actually don't. His bar structures, a lot of times, were very well put together. A lot of his rhyme cadences, a lot of the wordplay, a lot of the metaphors, hysterical. I think some of the beats, I don't know if it's the mix down or whatever, some of this stuff could have been tweaked a little better. So I think that at the end of the day, this is a solid project. It's a solid project. It's not It's not a come home with me by no stretch. I don't think he had access to that caliber of production. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, like, I would expect this caliber from a lesser profile artist. I would expect more. Like, it's a lot of dope ass beats on here. A lot of good production. A-Rab is on here. Just Blaze. A lot of cast. Dollar Vision, Rec, JB Music, Zombie, YH, Dollar Bills. It's a lot of cast. I'm not familiar with all these people, but they brought some heat in this joint. They brought some heat. And I think that had Cam had more time with what he was trying to do, it would have been an even more solid project. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give this joint a B++. I suggest you listen to it for the culture. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people go around saying for the culture. I'm gonna say that, for the culture. Listen to this album. It's a quality album. If you're a Cameron fan, you probably gonna like it. You know what I'm saying? So give it a shot. It is what it is. My name is Charles Brown. Like the video, don't like the video, it's up to you. Subscribe to CLBMG. Go to Audio Liquor Music, Audio Liquor Magazine. Peace.